All right, that's my cue. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of my afternoon show, which is I call it the afternoon view. I don't know. This is just when I want to talk to people, I open up an extra window in the afternoon. And most of you already know who my special guest is, which I will introduce in a minute. But since it's not the Morning Night Live, I didn't do a show this morning. I have something else to show you. I'll show you one other thing before we get started. And I want you to, if you can, if you'd be so kind to spread this around, because I worked a lot. I worked on this all morning instead of doing the show because I wanted to make sure my 1000th show was the show that was the 1000th show on Friday. So the 1000th show is coming this Friday, and I have a little preview for you. Well, not a preview, but it's a little promotional video. Let's play that and then we'll get into it. Just a moment. Here we go. Hey everybody, I'm Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet.
Dawg Knight.
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 Dawg.
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 Hi, Dawg.
Sir Dawg.
For your dog. Dawg Knight.
And I'm about to celebrate my 1,000th episode of the Morning Night Live.
1,000th episode of the Morning Night Live.
1,000 shows? Wow.
1,000th episode.
And 1,000 episodes.
1,000 episodes.
1,000 episodes. That's 3 zeros, people.
It's February 10th, 1,000th episode. That's amazing. He has the name of his show is the Morning Night Live.
It happens Friday. Doing an all-day stream, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
All day long on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter Spaces, Morning Night Live this Friday, February 10th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You gotta be there. All right. Well, let's get it done, people. Let's see. I want to try to get at least 1,000 people in the watching the stream at some point on Friday. And if we get more than that, hell, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, I'll take it. But right now, I have more important things to do because I have a special guest with me, and that is Mr. Jericho Green. Welcome, sir. Oh, I got you muted. There we go. Welcome to Mr. Jericho Green. How you doing, sir?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me, Mr. P Dog.
I'm excellent. Now, this is actually the first time Jericho and I have met. I was on one of his streams the other day, and I made a message to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll come on." So, and I know a lot of you already know who Jericho is, but for those of you who don't, I'm gonna have Jericho kind of introduce himself. Just tell me a little bit about yourself. You don't have to be specific on locations, but tell me a little about yourself. Like, I know you're a family man. I know you're in the Navy. I know you. You tell me.
Raised here in California. I'm in Northern California, close to Sacramento. But I spent most of my time growing up down on the coast near Monterey, Salinas area. You know, the salad bowl of the world. Just moved up here last year. We moved up here, just mainly affordability, because anything near the water, you paying through the nose. So grew up in California. You know, married, got a couple kids, served in the world's finest Navy. And, found myself in this upside down clown world that we're all in. So I figured, one day about 4.5 years ago, I was like, well, I'll start a YouTube channel and say what I say, and that's it. I was just using it as a way to get my opinion out there. Sure. And, for the longest time, I never saw you anywhere but in your car. Yeah. You did a lot of car videos, but what amazes me though, because a lot of times you'd be driving or something, and you just pull things off the top of your head. You must have a really, really easily retractable memory. Yeah, just I started doing them in my car because I had about a 15 to 20 minute commute, depending on traffic, in the morning, and my kids were little. 4.5 years ago when I started this, my daughter was 6 and my son was about 1.5 years, 2, something like that. So they were real little. So I wanted to spend a lot of time with them because, as we all know, even if you don't have kids, you remember when you got to a certain age, the last place you wanted to be was at home, and the last people you want to be with were your parents. So I know that's coming. So I want to spend as much time as I could with them. So I figure I'm sitting on my butt for 15, 20 minutes anyway. I might as well just knock out some videos there. And I have, I was on the radio. I worked at a radio station for about 5 years. So, I have a little bit of polishing, my delivery and stuff like that. But, and I'm not one for editing, like the way you have it set up, your intro and all that stuff, man, I got to get with you on how to do that. That kind of stuff I'm not good at, but, I figure I just do it in one take just so I don't have to edit. I don't have to chop nothing up, trim anything. Just one take, Jake. And that's how it was in the radio. If I had to do a promo or something like that, give a couple seconds, think about what I want to say, and then just do it the first time. Very nice. Yeah. See, mine is all self-taught over just a trial and error, hunt and peck on my keyboard and stuff. And you're stuck in California though.
I mean, now, in fact, it's funny because my uncle lived in Sacramento for a long time, which is a little different than the coast. I mean, there's a big difference actually. Tell me the comparisons of the coast versus living in Sacramento.
Man, it's almost like you're not in the same state. Something the water does something to people, East Coast or West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Being on near the ocean does something to people's brain cells. It attracts, the lower rung, if you will, on the intellectual ladder. That's where you get a lot of your crazy policies and the people you see online and the libs of TikTok and all that. They come from the coast for some reason. But when you get inland, California, our big industry is agriculture. So up here where I'm at, you have a lot of avocados, nuts, stone fruits and stuff like that. I usually find the stone fruits in the hotter climates, the tougher climates. Mm-hmm. So you got a lot of that here. So a lot of people work. A lot of people get up early, drive trucks, get mud on their shoes and calluses on their hands. So you don't see so much of that liberal mentality. It's more of hard work, more of a conservative mindset, and not to the extreme. I think we all have a little conservative in us and a little liberal too. But here it's definitely more conservative, a lot less Biden-Harris bumper stickers up here. I'll put it that way.
Right. Now, were you someone who started out there on the left because you lived on the coast, close to the coast, or did you always kind of have this more of a conservative mindset to you? I mean, or did you discover you had a conservative mindset even though you may have thought something else?
No, I never had a need for a quote unquote red pill moment. My parents were both military, pretty conservative, a lot of structure, discipline, things of that nature. So they never entertained somebody else has control over your life, or it's the white man or whoever. And it was all on you, good or bad, you did it. So fortunately, I never had a need for that. And I always knew I was something. I always knew that I wasn't always with the mainstream of people I was around, or even in class, going back to high school, I can think of some really, like, a couple hippie teachers that I had, and we'd always clash over their social and political beliefs. And so back then there was no word for it. Back then we weren't so separated and labeled. Labels have always been around, but we can definitely all agree that there's been a change and a ramping up in the last 5, 6 years, 8 years, even go back to 10. So I never had a need for that. I've always been conservative minded, but I just didn't know what it was called, until recently. But I've always been like this, and I've never shied away from debating people who thought differently.
Did you always have an interest in the political, or is that more as you've started to see what nonsense is out there? I'll give you how it started for me, because I also have 2 kids. My kids are grown now, but as soon as, especially when I got married and started having kids and started, bought a house and all this, and especially the taxes, when you start paying taxes, that was a wake-up call right there, just going, hey, I agree with these people over here because I don't like this either. Is that kind of a similar vein, or did you always know that you had a little bit of a political edge to you too?
I didn't, it was, like I said, I've always had something in me. I've always been conservative minded, but definitely, having kids, that changes everything. You look everything in your life, you look at it through the lens of your kids, whether it be, your schedule, traveling, or just your philosophy and where you live, things like that. It all goes through the filter of you have kids now. But I never really was political. I started listening to like political talk and reading stuff when I was like 26 or 27, but not when I was really younger. But definitely, the political stuff and politicians is where a lot of the craziness comes from these days. So that kind of pulled me in that direction. But they kind of made me this way.
Yeah, and you mentioned and how everyone's, especially like you said in the last 10 years, how everyone's got a label now. And it's almost as though a lot of the labels come from this this need to find a way to be oppressed, almost, because and so those of us who have the label that doesn't deal with the oppressed or being oppressed, almost are the outcasts anymore. But because if you can't find a way to be oppressed, I mean, it's everyone. How am I trying to say this? Everyone piggybacking off like the civil rights movement. Everyone's got, oh, wait a minute. they got something extra out of this. Now let's figure out everyone else who can find a label to kind of piggyback on that, it seems.
Yeah, and if you don't have a label, they'll find one for you. And if you don't like that label, well, then there's something wrong with you. There's some kind of self-hate or something like that. They're always constantly trying to reduce us into groups. We got you in a group, Black folks. Well, now we got to break it down to, are you a conservative Black person? Are you this kind of Black? I mean, it's ridiculous, man. We're American citizens. And if we focused more on our benefits of being here and our similarities, and all that other shit will melt away. But you go back to Booker T. Washington back in the late 1800s. He was talking about, really further back than that, post-Civil War, he's talking about there's going to be a certain group of Black folks who benefit from grievances. So it behooves them to stir something up. If this is where you're generating your revenue, then you want to keep that going. So they're always going to be stirring up emotions, constantly beating that dead racism horse, in America. And like you said, piggybacking on the civil rights, because that's attached to race. That's the bottomless pit. No matter what's going on, we can always dip our buckets in that racism well, because it's always there, because we always keep, it's almost like a fire you keep burning for years. You're always feeding it. It's always there. And when you need it, you'll use it, but you always keep it at the ready. And a lot of people they want to be victims. They want that adulation. They want to be in a group. They want to be held up. And sometimes it doesn't matter by who. They just want to be relevant. They want people talking about them. And, oh my goodness, you poor thing. And you're so tough. And oh, how do you make it? And we all make it the same way we make it. It doesn't matter what color you are. We all got the same problems. Strip all the color away. We all got financial issues, health issues, family issues, job issues. Life finds you no matter what you look like. So, but some people, they need to be a victim, and some people need victims, and they're a match made in heaven.
But you can't say though that, you can't say that you don't see color though. I mean, you can say it doesn't matter. I see it every day. I see my family. I can tell, but if I minimize the importance of it, that's when you can be, it might be a little bit easier to be successful, all right, let's see. I'm going to move on into some current topics, because I one of the ones that you just talked about this weekend. Can we talk about balloons?
Oh man. Oh man. What a nightmare.
So this, my real question is, what is it that we haven't been paying attention to, because everyone's been talking about balloons? But so over the last couple of days, all of a sudden, some people were saying that, well, there were balloons going over our country when Trump was in office. Just give me your thoughts on the balloons. The balloon.
The balloon gate. So I've heard people talking about how there were balloons that did the very same thing. They traversed the United States when Trump was in office. So far, Trump's come out and denied that. John Bolton, who was the Secretary of Defense or Secretary of State, denied that. And then I just read an article where some former general said that never happened. We were never aware of any balloons being in our airspace. And I mean, you can just break it down to the type of person Trump is. Does he strike you as the kind of person who would have some other country, not just any other country, we're talking China, that's our number one opponent in the world. Do you think he would let China do that?
Wrong. I don't think he would ignore China.
There's no way that Trump, on a personal level, would let China put anything in our airspace without him doing something about it. And the mainstream media, as I call them, the mainstream mediocres, they would lose their mind at an opportunity to finally connect Trump to China. You must be in bed with China because you're letting them fly this balloon over our airspace. You're letting them collect data on us. And that's ridiculous because Trump couldn't help himself. He would not allow another world leader to get one over on him, number one. Number two, I think we all know that if Trump were in office, this wouldn't have ever happened. This is a blatant show of what we can get away with because Biden's weak. He can't get through a sentence, and that speaks volumes. But I think it should have been shot down over Alaska, over the Aleutian Islands, over Canada. Why didn't Canada give us a heads up? Was Trudeau too busy putting on blackface? I don't know. But once it traverses the United States, it's not like they sent the balloon, they're going to let it go around America, come back, and then collect the data from it. It's not that old school anymore. This is all real time. I'm sure whatever information that balloon was picking up, it was going right back to China. That just seems so outdated to hope we get the balloon back and then we can crack it open and find all that juicy intel. That stuff's going, what it's picking up, it's going right back to China. So by the time it gets to the East Coast, China don't care if you destroy it. They already got everything from it. And then we shoot it down in a part of the ocean that's too deep to retrieve it.
Well, and from 80,000 feet, pretty much anything that even comes to the ocean is going to be destroyed anyway.
It's a long way up.
That's a long way down. Now, and as far as now, I also saw something, I think it was CNN even, which shocked me. The CNN reported said that the balloons that supposedly came over American airspace during the Trump administration, they didn't even realize it until Biden was in office, one. And two, I think one of it was just like, was it like one over Hawaii, like from a short period of time, and then the other one was they discovered it might have been in Florida or whatever. I don't even know. I have you heard anything about that?
No, I haven't.
And then one was over Guam. So it was like, now if you think about that, those are three, military places.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Guantanamo Bay, Pearl Harbor, there's military installations.
So like you said, it doesn't matter if they shoot it down because anything they would get for something like that is from, real-time transmission.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we made this huge idea about this huge fuss about these balloons. Doesn't China have satellites too?
Yeah.
I mean, you would think they would have satellite technology, at least something that can see the ground.
Well, we've been selling off farmland to the Chinese. We've allowed China to put a police station in New York full of Chinese police officers. So, I mean, this isn't China's first foray into getting on our soil or trying to get information from us. When Clinton was in office, we lost a plane over China, and it took us like 3 months to get it back. So it gave him plenty of time to take all the intel out of it. So this isn't anything new, but we can definitely, we can go off of what happened and what people did versus what they said or what they may have tweeted. Trump got the leaders of North and South Korea to meet and shake hands. We were supposed to be in World War III because he called Kim Jong-un Rocket Man, but it turns out they were pretty quiet. Russia was quiet during his administration, and now that he's gone, everybody's acting up. What's going on in Ukraine and all that stuff. So Trump tells you, sometimes you got to believe people when they tell you who they are. And Trump told us who he was, and he does not strike me as the kind of person that would let any slight like that or any kind of encroachment on our soil go unpunished. Now, if he didn't know about it, he didn't know. But everybody with eyeballs who can look up in the sky knew about this one. So let's do something.
Well, this one is, this one was visible from the ground almost. I mean, it was, or at least I didn't think it took much more than a kid's telescope to see it. And I'm assuming that the ones during Trump's time in office probably weren't detected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise somebody would have said something about them. So
for sure, somebody would have brought that up.
You would think someone would mention it. Hey, there's a balloon up there. What is that? Is that our weather balloon? I don't think so. Although,
and they mentioned that, or the Chinese government said it was a weather balloon that went off course. We're 6,500 miles away from China. That's a hell of a way off course.
That's off course, all right.
Sounds like a new course.
People said that there was a message on the balloon that it was actually a Valentine's Day gift for Eric Swallow from Fang Fang.
Oh, that's nice. That's very thoughtful of her. Well, we shouldn't have shot it down. We should have let him open it and read love letters from his Chinese spy.
From his girl. All right. Let's move on to another topic, because you have a special affinity for someone, and I actually borrowed a tagline from you for our vice president.
Oh, yeah. Kamala, the Ugandan nightmare. The
The
politician
Ugandan
who
nightmare.
went horizontal so her career could go vertical. Yeah.
Yes. Now, any thoughts on the job that Kamala is doing, particularly as the borders are?
Oh, man. Well, it's kind of hard to call yourself a farmer if you've never been to a farm. So I don't know how they're calling her a border czar when she's never been to the border. Like, you didn't even go just for a photo op, AOC style, just stand there and cry over, some kind of facility. You never been there. Biden's been there. That ain't even his job. He's been there on his way to Mexico. She's doing it. Can you say someone's doing a bad job if they're not doing the job? I guess, but she's terrible. She's probably the most unlikable human being to ever be created. She has no conviction. If she's in front of this group, she'll act this way. If she's in front of that group, she'll act that way. The way she talks is weird. She talks to people like she's a kindergarten, like not even kindergarten, a preschool teacher. Yep. She talks to a preschool teacher who's trying to explain some grown-up concept to a bunch of little kids. Lots of big eyes and wow, and lots of awkward laughing or cackling, as I like to call it. And it's very weird. It's very off-putting. It's very disingenuous. I don't know why they think anybody doesn't see through that. I mean, it's painfully awkward how she is. And she's always been like that. It's not like becoming vice president changed her. She was unlikable on the campaign trail when she ran for president. That's why she only got 2% of support. Her own people don't like her. And for her to get up there and talk about all these things she wants to change and the racism and stuff, but everybody ignores all the black folks she put in jail for weed, and then she claims she was smoking weed in college. It's ridiculous. She's ridiculous. And I'll say, she's the worst vice president ever. And normally, with a vice president, you don't even know what they do. And you shouldn't, because they're vice president. But with Kamala, we know everything because she's a weirdo and she's awkward and she's terrible. And one of the worst things she's done so far, and she's not done. Kamala's not done. This is just so far. But when she went and spoke at Tyree Nichols' funeral, that was so weird. That was so out of place. She made it political, and it was just bad, man. But she has no shame, so you can't expect her to see any shame in what she's doing. She don't know, but she's horrible.
There is a lot of no shame at that funeral, though, and I still haven't. I still don't understand why all those people showed up for that funeral. I mean, look, what happened to him is wrong. Okay, but I hate to even give the police the out of the fact that he resisted and ran, because even if he did, their job as police officers are to bring in a suspect so they can go to court. Not to beat the hell out of them, so they can't make it. But why are politicians, Al Sharpton, all these other, or Sharp Tongue? I know that you like to call him Sharp Tongue, right?
Yeah.
Why are all these people grandstanding at this funeral?
Well, it's an opportunity. It's relevance. It's an opportunity for them to bask in relevance. This is, and you notice, I mean, and unfortunately, had these officers been white, astronauts would be able to see the fires burning from space in America. It would have been absolutely awful, but it would be their wet dream. This is what they dream of. This gives them the most money. This a white cop involved in the death of a black person, that's cha-ching, that's money, that's TV spots, that's a potential payout from the city. That's the funeral. They had 2,500 people at Tyree Nichols' funeral. And a few years back, they had 4 children in Memphis who were killed by their mom. and they only mustered a couple hundred people at their funeral. So if it's really about the Black life and the Black person who lost their life unjustly, then it shouldn't matter who did it. It's the fact that their life was taken unjustly, period. That should be the focus. But why are there a bunch of people at this funeral who didn't even know this guy? It's not like it was all people from Memphis. If the city turned out, that's one thing. But you're talking Kamala Harris from D.C. They brought in Breonna Taylor's family, George Floyd's family from Minneapolis. They brought in some lady from Houston whose son was killed by the cops. You got Ben Crump there. You have all. It turned into a spectacle. It turned into an event. It wasn't a funeral. It was an event. It was the who's who. Who's there? Who's going to stick their hand in this social cookie jar and get something from it? And for her to get up there and talk about, we need to pass this bill and Biden will sign it. Well, you guys have had control of the House and the Senate for a long time. Why didn't you do it? If it needs to be done and it's so crucial to this country, and oh my goodness, then do it. You had Barack Obama in there. You had the first Black blah 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 in there. So why didn't you do it then? So it's a bunch of nonsense. And they remember with George Floyd, this was the worst when they put on kente cloth scarves and knelt down for 8 minutes. Bring on the meteor right now. Crash into the earth. End all this. That was terrible.
The other thing you also mentioned with Kamala, how she talks to people like they're in preschool. The one time when she was at an event, it might have been like a local church or NAACP event or something. And she was talking about Ukraine, and someone asked her about Ukraine, and she's like, well, there's a country called Ukraine and another country called Russia. She literally said called Russia. And Russia had some troops go into Ukraine, and it made the people very unhappy. And so they feel like they need to protect their democracy. I'm like, who are you talking to? Are you talking to 5-year-olds? Come on, lady. But here's the problem. Now, by the way, here's the problem with Kamala Harris, though, that I see. And I predicted this in November of 2020. She's about to be president. She's about to be president. You think that the media would be focusing on the documents and all this other stuff Joe Biden's doing if she wasn't about to be president? Although, now I pulled up a report here. What was it? About people who are not happy with Kamala. Hang on a second. Oh, here we go. I had it here. I must have accidentally closed it. There's some people like Elizabeth Warren. There's a lot of people who won't even, as far as people supposedly running in 2024, nobody wants to talk about her. Nobody wants to talk about Joe Biden. Why do you think that is?
I think they're definitely about to ditch Biden, for sure. I think they're about to ditch him. And if Kamala is president, I think she'll only be in there for a little while, just to make everything that they're about to do legal. Maybe she has to be in for a certain amount of time before she can do this. But Gavin Newsom is from California. She was the state attorney general, or she was a state senator, excuse me. She was attorney general for San Francisco. And I believe was it during his time as mayor of San Francisco? Because Gavin Newsom didn't just appear as governor. He was mayor of San Francisco first. So after he screwed up San Francisco, then he moved on to the state of California. He's doing a great job of destroying this state.
Right.
But
isn't he Pelosi's nephew or something shit like that?
That's right, Pelosi's nephew. And Pelosi's family is old school politics from Maryland. So if Kamala gets in as president, then she'll have to nominate a vice president, of course.
And it can't be Gavin Newsom, because you can't have two from the same state.
Yes, but
so they need to get her out the paint.
Yes, exactly. So if somebody else comes in and she gets bumped, then they can nominate Gavin Newsom. There's ways that they can do this without us casting a single vote as the American citizens, as voters. So I think that's their ultimate goal, because Kamala, she's too dumb. That's why they don't give her any responsibility. That's why they've never sent her to the border. You name her the border czar, but you won't send her to the border. That's why they have her talking about electric school buses, and she doesn't even know the medley for Wheels on the Bus. So she's ridiculous. They're not going to give her any responsibility. She's a placeholder until they can get their boy Gavin in there. He already went to the White House late last year. What's his name? Biden came out to California a couple of weeks ago to tour the storm damage that wasn't even that bad. So at one time, this would be conspiracy, and no way this would happen. All this belongs in a movie. But the last 3 years have taught us, among other things, that there are no more conspiracies. They're doing it out in the open because there's no fear of consequence.
Right. Well, but she has a nice laugh, though.
Is it? Is that classified as a laugh? I'll say I'd say like a mating call, but not a laugh. That's
here's this clip of Elizabeth Warren talking about. Won't even say her name. Once.
If he's that old in the second term, that vice president becomes more important. Should Kamala Harris be his choice the second time around?
You know, I really want to defer to what makes Biden comfortable on his team. I've known Kamala for a long time. I like Kamala. I knew her back when she was an attorney general, and I was still teaching, and we worked on the housing crisis together. So we go way back. But they have to be a team, and my sense is they are. I don't mean that by suggesting I think there are any problems. I think they are.
Yeah,
there you go.
Don't sound so convincing.
And the same thing with Biden. And they asked me, "You going to support Biden 2024?"
Well, that's not part of our roadmap. No, I don't. You know what? Like I said, I see. Here's my theory on that whole thing: is when they needed Biden because they could hide him and. You know, however, I'm not going to talk about the election because this is YouTube and you can't do that. But I think their plan from the beginning, how gung-ho the media and the DNC was for Kamala Harris when they first started running. The media, she was the it girl, right? Mm-hmm. But the people didn't like it. So they realized that real quick. They got Biden, and however they got him in there, and so now they have her as a vice president. And I said, you know what? They want her to run for 2 years, or they want her to run, but they wanted to be able to run twice. But Biden may not make it through the entire term. Mm-hmm. And so I was predicting back then, you know what? Sometime in 23, they're going to find a way to get him out of there. And then all of a sudden, all these documents start showing up in his, his closet, in his house, and behind his Corvette, in the back room, upstairs, and they're just making it. They're making it to embarrass him. Who knows if any of the documents were actually there or not? They need to make. They're damaging him, which it's not hard because he can't. Finish a 10-minute speech. But I don't know. I just always had that feeling that this is, they always used to say with Trump, "Oh, the walls are closing in." Well, these look like barn doors are slowly shutting as we speak. So I don't know. Real quick, I got a Streamlabs here real quick. Thank you, Maddie, for sponsoring the show. Maddie's I don't think you can hear these on here. You kind of hear him. Anyway, Maddie says mom calls Kamala the hyena because that's what her laugh reminds her of. Yes, she does. By the way, if you want to sponsor the show, you can YouTube Super Chats and Streamlabs, pdognight.live. You can go there and if you have questions for us or for Jericho, we can start putting those in the chat too.
Yeah, let me have it.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's see what's the next one. Oh, did you hear about Fauci? Now that he's gone, right? He's finally stepped down.
Yes.
And apparently, all of a sudden he's out there doing speeches. Now, first he was the highest paid federal U.S. government employee. Okay. He even made more than the president while he was. But now Dr. Fauci was chastised online Sunday after critics. Here, I'm sorry, I should put this on the screen. After critics, wait, what happened there? Let's try this again. There we go. Okay. China said after critics discovered that the retired NIAID director, who was once the highest paid federal U.S. government employee, is charging up to $100,000 for speaking engagements.
Man,
he's a superstar. He's a superstar. Florida.
I mean, I wouldn't be so mad at him. Who's paying him that kind of money? Because you can request whatever you want, but who's going to pay him that kind of money? But this is all part of the plan. This is his golden parachute. He gives us the business. He rides off into the sunset, does his book tours. They already did a biopic pic about him, like a documentary about him. I think that's weird to do. You got to be dead. You got to be dead to get documentaries and statues. But here's the one thing I can't get past, and I'm a simple person. I'm just a regular person, so I like to boil things down to a simple level so I can understand them. Bottom line is, his boss was his wife. So you mean to tell me that at work everything's on the up and up, but there's no pillow talk at home? There's no we're going to do this together. We're going to formulate this plan.
Was it his boss? Was she his boss, or was she in charge of oversight of his position? That's what
well, not boss as in like they work in the same office, but she was in charge of him. She had authority over him. So that's got to be textbook conflict of interest to have somebody who's in charge of you be your spouse, because it's impossible for you to keep those two worlds separate because you live together. What's the one thing we talk about with our spouses when we get home? We talk about work, but they're going to be the first. They're going to be the one and only couple to, we shall not break the oath that we've taken. Bull crap. As soon as they get home, they're talking about work. She's telling him stuff he don't need to know. He's telling her stuff she don't need to know. And if in any way she could keep him out of harm's way or put him in an advantageous position, she's going to do that. That's her husband. That's blood thicker than water. Well, wedding rings are thicker than job applications. There's no way she's not going to do that for her husband. Right. So how could we let that be?
Let's see. Oh, that's back to Biden there. Where is it here? So let's see. So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' rapid response to Christine Pushaw on Sunday tweeted the screenshot from leading motivational speaker agency's website, which lists Fauci as a motivational and healthcare keynote speaker with a price tag that ranges from $50,000 to $100,000. The website describes Fauci as someone whose career warrants. Wait a minute. Now they probably worded this wrong, but here's what it says. It describes Fauci, whose career warrants execution under immense pressure that can alter the course of human existence. Now,
I know what they meant.
The sentence, if you read the rest of the sentence, but if you put a period right after execution, they might be right. They might be right.
Stop it right there.
Just
but
stop right there.
Yeah, stop, cut, print. Context is everything. You got to read the whole thing.
But when you go to the I was gonna do my Fauci imitation, but now I can't. I'm just laughing now. Look, if you have COVID and you get the vaccines, they'll be perfectly safe because they're safe and effective.
That's what he told us. He told us no mask. You don't need a mask. My bad. Now you need two.
Right. Have you all right, well, I'm gonna change topics here. Have you paid attention to the earthquake in Turkey at all?
Yeah, I was reading about that this morning. Damn. And the body count's going to get higher, but it's at what, 1,500 to 2,000 people already?
They say 2,300 now.
Golly, man.
And as I was looking at some of these pictures, it's like, well, I'm sure the building codes over there probably aren't as stringent as some places that get.
Yeah, there's no OSHA.
Japan or San Francisco. That those building codes are much more stringent. More people paying attention to what they're doing too. But okay. Let me. There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
And of course, we'll be the first country there to help and the most. That's how we do it.
Of course we will. And in fact, you know, we'll spend more money on Ukraine and Turkey than, you know, half of our own states. You know,
easily. Hey, veterans freeze on the streets. Ukrainians step over them. Come on in.
Yeah. All right. What else here? Have you followed any of the J6 stuff at all? You followed that?
Yeah, I've had a copious amounts of that nonsense.
I followed Julie Kelly in America. It's kind of been my go-to order on that, just on how the people are treated there. So let's talk about the word insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
What when you think of the word insurrection, is that what you saw on that? Because they made a big deal. They from the very beginning, as soon as, in fact, it might have been the next day was the first time I heard someone use the word insurrection. Is that do you think that's an applicable term?
Not for what I saw, no. And if you look at the facts, remember the story that they came out with where a Capitol police officer was beaten to death with a fire extinguisher. They took a fire extinguisher off the wall and beat this man to death on their way into the Capitol building. Damn, that sounds horrible. But if you're not willing to stick around if you're not willing to follow up on the story, or you're not willing to look into it, you know, just 1 or 2 layers, we're not talking no crazy deep dive, then you're going to take that and you're going to believe it and you're going to run with it. And then you're going to have people parrot that on TV when it turns out that officer didn't die there. He died a couple months later from a heart attack. And there were a few officers that died who were on duty that day, but they died from unrelated causes a long time after. But if you let them tell the story, go ahead, man.
Sick Nick, he died the next day of a stroke. He had 2 strokes.
Stroke. Yeah.
And then all the other officers they say, you know, were casualties of January 6th, either died of suicide. One guy, he got run over by a person in a car who attacked some officers with a car and hit him in front of the Capitol like a month later, like in April, like 3 months later, and they're calling him a victim of January 6th. Even he was in fact, when they did the memorial this year on January 6th, Joe Biden mentioned him by name.
So that's literally lying from the top down. But they're betting, and they should. What a smart bet to bet that millions and millions of Americans won't look any further past that. They'll take your words as gospel. So that's why you have so much steam behind this nonsense. But when you have the only casualty, the only person who physically lost their life on the premises of the Capitol on January 6th was Ashley Babbitt, who was one of the people who made their way into the Capitol. She was shot by a cowardly police officer. And there's tape. She was the only one coming through, 5'0", and the cop shot her in the neck. But
she had like 4 officers right behind her too. That was the part because they were
climbing through the window. Yeah,
and then they backed off as that officer raised his weapon, and then he shot her. So it's not like they, you know, it's possible that officer didn't see the officers behind her, but you know, we talk about, you know, what's your, you know, your proper amount of force, and there was nothing that said that this woman coming through a window needs to be shot. I don't know.
No, nothing at all. And that's caught on tape, but that's largely ignored. And speaking of tape, where's everything? Every inch of our society is covered by a camera. And if it's not posted somewhere, it's somebody's phone. So where's all the footage from it? And when I saw with my own eyes, when I saw footage of Capitol police officers moving barriers out of the way and waving people in like they're directing airplanes on an airstrip, well, then how much of an insurrection was it when you're waving people in the building? And then this is supposed to be orchestrated by Donald Trump, who at the time was the president, who at the time and still today is a billionaire. So you're telling me a billionaire with his money and influence and power and connections, this Keystone Cop crap is what he pulled off? Just a bunch of rowdy people with moose heads and zip ties who didn't hurt anybody. All these Nancy Pelosi's and people they were looking for. They never found them. They never heard them because I don't think they were looking for them. And then hold on one second, one more. AOC said that she was in the building, cowering under a desk, hearing the people outside Nancy. She's in her desk, cowering. If they come in here, they're going to kill me. They want blood. She wasn't even in the damn building.
She was 300 in a building 300 yards away.
Damn.
She was in the congressional office building.
So how traumatized can you be when you're not there?
No, but she almost died.
Really? Their savagery was so bad.
Almost died.
She almost died. Just like I mentioned earlier, she was at that parking lot crying about that immigrant detention center. Turned out to be an empty parking lot.
In fact, I think she died twice that day.
I heard 3 times. She died. They brought her back. She died one more time, and then she died again before she went to bed. But it's disgusting that these kind of lies are just allowed to go out into the world and into people's ears. And then you got the lady who was there, and I thought in order to be called a witness, you had to be a witness. But apparently you could talk to somebody who was there. They tell you their rendition of the story, then you can take it to the witness stand and tell it as if you were there. And then when the woman she's the one who said that Trump reached up and grabbed the driver around the clavicles. He had 2 Secret Service agents held back, one in each hand, because that's how badass he is. It's because of his orange skin. And then she got down off the witness stand and got a hug from Liz Cheney. I didn't know you could hug witnesses when you're on the committee.
That was the Jason Statham Donald Trump.
Mm.
He has every once in a while that Jason Statham comes out in him and he can.
Next time I'll pop all your balls.
Right.
Yeah, that was I didn't hear that part. I didn't hear the Jason Statham part.
Yeah, well, there was a battery there and there was a couple cables and he accidentally chewed on him a little bit and got the jolt. So he got a little extra.
I mean, we've had some badass presidents. We've had Teddy Roosevelt and stuff. We've had some badass presidents. We've had some badass war heroes and stuff as presidents. But I've never heard of one holding 2 Secret Service agents back at one time. I mean, that's next level. But, hey.
He's in the limo, too. Now, does he sit in the seat facing the rear of the limo, or does he sit in the back of the limo? Because it's not like you can reach from that seat. Remember, look, I'm gonna say something that may upset some people.
Controversial. But
Donald Trump isn't in the best shape in the world.
How dare you?
Let's just be honest. Let's be honest.
I'm out of here.
If he's sitting in the back seat of a limo, isn't that driver like 10 feet away or 8, 9, 10 feet away? How long are Donald Trump's arms that he can reach and grab the driver and hold back another?
Dawg, you got it all wrong. You got it all wrong.
He has the finger grip right here. This thing, he does that. And right in his neck, you stay there, and I got this guy by the neck.
That's all you need. And
then a roundhouse kick as he sweeps his hand out of the way.
Yeah, sweep the leg. Sweep the leg, Johnny. Donald Trump, he ripped the seats out, so you don't got to worry about reaching over seats. He ripped them out and threw them out the door, so there are no more seats.
Oh, so this
and when you're that powerful, that's all you need. The Vulcan death grip. He has the Vulcan death fingers. You didn't know that. So if he clamps those fingers on you, you ain't going nowhere.
So it wasn't Jason Statham Trump. It was Arnold. It was Arnold Trump.
It was Arnold Statham Trump.
Arnold Statham Trump.
Come here. Come on. And he just grabbed him. You're not going anywhere. He grabbed both of them. And they soiled themselves. They didn't say that part in the testimony, but they soiled themselves. And Donald Trump did too, just to show solidarity. He soiled himself too. It was crazy. it was crazy in there.
All right. So tomorrow, this is not the best transition, but tomorrow is the State of the Union address. Are you going to watch the State of the Union? Are you going to watch it so your audience don't have to?
For the purposes of my job, if you will, yes. Do I want to? No. Would I rather watch paint dry and grass grow? Yes. But because of what I do every day, I will have to somehow make my way through it. But shout out to my wife, because she usually watches that stuff with me. So at least I have somebody to make weird faces at when he says something incoherent, and you know he will.
Oh yeah, but the beauty of the State of the Union when it's Joe Biden, it's not going to be a 2-hour speech.
Hell no. And that's great. That's the only upside.
Now, what do you think of the Republicans' choice for doing the rebuttal? And do you even think the rebuttal is even worth doing on these stupid things? Do you know who it is?
No. Who is it?
It's Sarah Sanders.
Oh, hey, okay. Well, hey, I like her. Her rebuttal will be articulate. It will be sharp. It will be poignant. But will it have the desired effect? I don't know. But to hear somebody of her caliber get up there and rebut that, yeah, I'm down. I'll be more excited to hear that than him.
I always hate the rebuttal. It's so you have this usually now, since this State of the Union will be in front of the entire Congress this time. Didn't they do that? They didn't do that last year, did they? Or was it 2 years ago they didn't? Anyway, the 20-minute speech that Joe's about to give in front of the Congress. You get the up down, you get the rah rah, you get the pundits all excited and they're talking, and they then afterwards they're having their little punditry talk, and then you get to the rebuttal. And I don't care who's in which party has the presidency, right? You get to the rebuttal, and it's like it's in some back room, bad lighting. They're talking to the camera. They didn't put makeup on. And they're rambling away, and the pundits are talking over them during half of it. Is it even worth it to have a rebuttal?
I don't think so. No, but since they're going to do it, at least, like I said, they're going to have somebody like her. I think she's going to do a great job. When she was press secretary, she did a great job. I've seen her on a few different shows after, talking about her experience and things like that. I think she's great, but if we have to have it, at least try to put the best person possible in there. And she's a good pick for it. But no, I think it should just be the State of the Union. What is this fool talking about? Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Do you think she'll do the smoky eyes?
I hope not. It's going to turn into something else but a rebuttal.
You got to stop that here.
Put the butt in rebuttal. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See,
get the smoky.
Turn the lights down. Yeah, man, don't do that. Don't have their people won't be listening to the message.
Let's talk about the Republican nominee for 2024. Any prediction?
Well, it'll be Trump. I think so. And this is if DeSantis doesn't run, and I don't think he will. I think he's going to stay and finish his obligation to the people of Florida because he just got reelected. I think he's going to do that, and then maybe in a perfect world, Trump 2024, DeSantis 2028. But if anybody but DeSantis is putting their hat in the ring, it's going to be Trump. And hey, I'm down for that. I wish it would have been a straight back-to-back presidency. I don't like this 4-year hiatus, this hiccup in between. I think we would be much better off if we had a straight 8, but I'll take 4 more years of Trump, especially after this. I mean, it'll be a guarantee to our return of prominence. We'll at least be back to where we were before he left the premises. We'll leave it at that. How he was out of there, we won't say. But I think Trump would be great to have. I mean, the damage control and the repairs he's going to do, I can't wait.
Well, now, not so fast. The former governor of South Carolina is putting her hat in the ring.
No. I mean, I don't want to. Well, whatever. People will label you whatever. I don't want a female president.
I wonder if she is. Oh, well, wait a minute now. Well, I was going to say, back in the day, would you have had Condoleezza Rice president?
No.
If there is a female, someone who's a little bit tougher than most.
No, I think we
don't have a Margaret Thatcher in the United States right now.
No, we don't. I think the world stage is still a man's world. I think there's still a lot of leg lifting going on, with world leaders, and that's what we need. A lot of these countries we deal with, Russia, China, the Middle East, they go back way farther than we did. They don't have all this progressiveness that we find ourselves soaked in sometimes. So that's who you're dealing with, and that's what they understand, and that's how you get things done.
In the
We
chat,
got to have a man in there.
In the chat, some ADs asked, "Can we get one of those penis-having females? Maybe compromise."
Yeah, meet in the middle. It's all about
like,
compromise.
You mean
All right,
like
that's
Carrie
fine.
Lake? Like Carrie Lake, maybe?
No, man, not even her. I just,
No.
I just don't think that would be good.
Who would your druthers be for a vice presidential candidate if Trump, if it's say it's Trump? By the way, I do kind of agree with you, DeSantis. Now, a lot of his support, his real heavy duty supporters that I see on Twitter, are making the case, him versus Trump constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I am not 100% convinced that he would jump in right now. One, we know how Trump campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump just somehow, look, here's what I've said from the beginning. And I mean this in the most loving way possible, but Donald Trump's a jackass. Okay. Donald Trump's a jackass. But we need a jackass. We need someone who don't give a damn. But the problem is when he leaves a path of destruction, especially, I mean, the way he rolled through the primaries since last time. He leaves this path of destruction, and it kind of damages people. Ted Cruz is, taken the full 4 years to kind of recover from the beating he was taking during the time.
Mm-hmm.
Marco Rubio, I mean, I still say little Marco, even though I think Rubio is trying, but he's kind of McCain-esque anyway. All those people that ran against Trump, I don't think DeSantis wants that smoke.
No.
Because he does it a different way, and I would love to see him in 28 and beyond, because especially the way he handles the media, because he's got that photographic memory. He's got facts coming out, out of his ears and eyeballs and out of his armpit. He's got facts coming from everywhere that just says, well, no, when this happened, and I did this, and you didn't give me credit for it because you were too busy trying to tell me something else. He's really good at that. But Donald Trump, just take it to a different level.
Donald Trump, he's a bull in the china shop, man. He's very uncouth, unpolished, because that's the life he comes from. He doesn't come from a life of service. He doesn't come from a life of being told what to do. He comes from a life of doing, or what he wants done, being done. And that's what we needed at the time. If you have this big old mess to clean up in your garage and it's full of trash and garbage bags and all this dirty stuff that needs to go to the dump, you don't want somebody to show up in a suit and wingtips to clean it. You want some guy, with a dirty shirt, a pickup truck, some boots on, and some gloves. And that's what we needed. And that's what Trump gave us. And like you said, he left a lot of stuff in his wake. He left a path of destruction. But through that destruction, we were number one. We were energy independent. Life was cheap. The world feared us, as they should, because I think when America is in charge, the world is a better place. There's more help out there for people. We're the most generous nation this world has ever seen. So when we're in charge and we're doing well, the world is doing well. And Trump, he was created by these people. You guys created the environment where Trump was necessary. And that's why he was voted in the way he was. People wanted somebody who wasn't from, the boys club, from DC, the swamp. This guy, Trump, came out of nowhere and didn't give a damn about it and would tweet all kinds of crazy stuff. Trump is definitely a jackass. He's definitely unpolished and not a politician. I guess technically he is now, because he was for 4 years, but Trump is Trump, and that's what we needed. He was the right president at the right time. And I believe Biden's creating an even righter time. That's not even a word. He's created an even righter time for Trump to come back. But what Trump are we going to get? We're going to get the Trump hell bent on making people pay who put that 4-year hiccup in his reign? Or is he going to be, I think he'll always be focused on America first, but is that going to be his main focus? Is he going to, forget about and ignore the vengeance and get us back on track?
Like cleaning up the alphabet agencies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially now since they have that little unwelcome visit, to find those documents all up in his son's room and I don't care who you are, man. You see somebody going through your home, or how big and opulent it is. That's your home. They're going through your wife's things, your son's room, and you know damn good and well you don't got nothing in there. And these people already contacted you and told you, hey, man, put a lock on that door, and you did? You guys need anything from me? Nah, we're good. And then you show up with the lights and the FBI windbreakers. That's BS, man. And that's going to be in his back of his mind.
They basically made the storage a skiff, and they still come in there like, you know.
Yeah. But then they give Biden a heads up. We'll be there in 3 days, man. Make sure you have all this stuff you're not supposed to have ready for us. Yeah, okay. Terrible, man.
All right. Let's venture off into one of your favorite topics that I got an article that
yeah
that we're going to go through, because this is I don't know if this is the trifecta, but here it is.
Oh boy.
Trans inmate identifies as an infant. Authorities accommodate him with baby food and diapers.
Do you want me to leave your show? Is that what you're trying to make me do?
No, because I know you like to talk about the Ku Klux Klans. So
stories like this are what? Hey,
no,
man.
it's a cute story. Come on, it's a cute story. So
we love the kids.
It's from the Daily Mirror. A killer who transitioned from male to female while in prison has demanded guards hold her hand while outside her cell because she identifies as an infant. Now, they said he. Sophie Eastwood, 36, who was named Daniel when she was jailed for life in 2004 after using shoelaces as a garrote to strangle her cellmate. Wait a minute. So she was Daniel when she killed someone in the prison. And they moved her. Did they move her to the female prison? I don't know. Eastwood
wouldn't surprise me.
Who has lived as a woman in Her Majesty's prison for the past 4 years, has been described as an attention-seeking and manipulative. Oh, shocker. By sources inside the jail. The murderer now has told chefs at Palmont Prison in Brighton, Scotland, that she identifies as a tot and should be allowed to wear diapers and have her meals pureed like baby food. I'm done. I'm sorry. I feel awful for bringing that to your attention.
Okay, where do we start with the Ku Klux trans baby inmate? Some people need to be thrown away. And there has to come a point where a prison has to be for punishment. Like they shouldn't be in the business of catering to your needs. Yes, we'll give you the basic human stuff, food, clothing, lodging, medical care. But that is absolutely ridiculous. To what? Puree the food and diapers? Who's changed? I hope he's changing his own diapers. Or do they got him up on some kind of table, holding his legs up, cleaning his damn diaper and putting some powder on his butt? What's going on here?
They just have an extra large, those things in the like truck stop restrooms, a little plastic thing flips down. They got a big one. They got a giant one in there.
Do you know what would happen to an inmate in America if they did that? Like Scotland, you guys suck, man. But you go to some of the prisons, like some countries, prisons are like getaway camps. Like there's dorms. Some of them are allowed to leave. They're allowed to wear whatever clothes they want. Some countries are very lax on their criminals. But America, we can't wag our red, white, and blue finger because there's some states, I know California and New Jersey, where you can go to the prison that you identify with. And there's some guy in New Jersey got 2 female inmates pregnant when he was at the women's prison. Really? You mean to tell me if you put a guy in there with a bunch of women, some of them are going to get pregnant? No way. So this kind of sick crap, man, this is indicative of the breakdown in our culture. I believe for years that I think we should outsource our prisoners. Like if you're bad, if you're a monster, or you hurt people or you steal, whatever. I'm not talking about low-level stuff. You got busted with some weed and now your roommate, now your cellmate is, he serves triple life. I don't think people like that should be put with the monsters. But if you're a certified monster, you need to go to another country. I'm talking countries where like that country in Africa, what is that? Burkina Faso, or what's that country where they mine the cobalt? where they send children down into the depths of the earth to mine cobalt. No, little kid. You go over there, you go to school or something. We're going to send these American prisoners in here and they're going to mine it. Oh, you don't want to do it? You think you got rights? No, you're going to do it. And I want you to come up and in and out of that mine until you drop dead. We need to send our people to countries who have the stomach for the punishment that they deserve.
And they got rid of
absolutely. You kill somebody, or you commit a crime against a child or a woman. No, man, America doesn't have what you need. Our society's too polite. It's too nice. We have too many advocacy groups. We have too much red tape to go through. You need to be outsourced to a country. I'm talking one of the countries where they send the T-shirts of the team that didn't win the Super Bowl or didn't win the World Series. You know what I mean? You need to go to one of those countries. One of those countries where if you got shoes, you're somebody. That's what I mean. The kind of country where you got to worry about cobras and tigers taking you down on the way to school. That's where these people need to go to get the punishment that they deserve. And God forbid our prisoners are punished properly and they come back and they don't want to commit crimes anymore. Wow.
Right.
That's a
well, I think part of it too is it's the Eighth Amendment that's cruel and unusual punishment, right?
That's why you send them out of here. They don't have the Eighth Amendment over there.
But here's the problem, though. When the Eighth Amendment was written, they still had firing squads. They still hung people. They still, they did a lot of things that were nasty. They might even have drawn and quartered a few people. I don't know. So is that? Nah, they might have stopped doing that. But still, they hung people in public hangings.
Mm-hmm.
They had firing squads, and and I am. Let's see, what's the word I can use? I am torn on the death penalty in a lot of cases, but if it is clear and unadulterated evidence that this person did this heinous thing, then fine. There is no cruel and unusual punishment because they didn't think of anything. They didn't do what they did was cruel and unusual. The Dahmers of the world. Why did they put him in prison? Now, granted,
he got what he deserved. He got hooked up.
Yeah. People were probably dancing when that happened, but still,
he got hooked up.
Dang.
But unfortunately, they don't all meet the end that they should. Like you said, I'm talking slam dunk. You are definitely guilty. You're a monster that somehow made your way out of hell, and you got loose in our population. But now we got you, and now we're going to send you to a place where because we got rid of the gas chamber. They ain't even got the gas chamber in Mississippi anymore. So now it's all lethal injection. And prisoners can request the firing squad or a hanging, but who's going to request that? So the things that people do to get put on death row and get put in prison, a shot in your arm. And with the lethal injection, they give you a shot to put you to sleep first. They don't even give you the real juice while you're awake. They put you to sleep first. They sedate you and then give you the medicine that helps you drift off into the everlasting sleep. Meanwhile, we can't even show the pictures of the crime scene on TV because of what you did.
Right. I forgot about this one. By the way, so I don't know if I should complain to you or if I should complain to Hotep Jesus or somebody, but
somebody gets this complaint.
So I live in Minnesota, and for whatever reason, because now that our state legislature, both houses are Democrat and the governor's Democrat, we have a governor that tries to emulate everything that your governor does, or the New York governor does, or Justin Trudeau does. So we're starting to get some of these laws, like some of these. Look, Scott Wiener, he's the one who writes those crazy bills, right?
That's right. Well, look at his name, right? But yeah, he's the one who authors all the weird, crazy, perverted stuff.
Dropping AIDS, having sex with someone with AIDS to a misdemeanor, and
slap on the wrist,
gender drills and stuff like that. Yeah, we're starting to get that in Minnesota,
and
it's a little bit frustrating because our governor just thinks that's look what they did. We could do that too. Anyway, but apparently, now here's an article in Politico, kind of in this realm. And I haven't even read this. I just saw this pop on my screen. Republican states are fuming and legislating over drag performances. Good. As far as performances for kids, now Some people are saying, "Oh, they're trying to ban all drag shows." No, they're not, because drag shows are if a drag show for an adult, I don't give a shit.
Not at all.
But lawmakers in at least 8 states introduced measures to block children from drag shows. Yes, that's wait, yes.
Why is that a thing?
Yeah, according to PEN America, a free speech advocacy group. Okay, hold up. So they're trying to make drag shows a free speech issue for children. Interesting.
Disgusting.
Republican state lawmakers want to shield children by closing the curtains on drag performances. Not all of them, just for kids. And see, this is a political article, so you get expected not to have a third of what is really happening. Legislation moving through several GOP-controlled capitals would ban the gender diverse shows. Gender diverse. Oh,
language.
In front of young people. In front of young people?
They're young. They're 19. They're 18, 19. They're young people.
Oh, well, they do including at schools, colleges, and or on public property, sparking a fierce response from the LGBTQ community and civil liberties. I don't even care if there's a drag show at a college. I don't care.
Nope.
But you know what? Not my 3rd grader. Because I've been seeing them taking 3rd graders, kids younger than that, to do some of these crazy drag shows.
Yeah,
and I don't mind. Look, my daughter and my wife, when we took a family trip to Vegas, and my wife, my daughter went to the drag show at the Flamingo, and it was great. It was all these impersonators and stuff. It wasn't super raunchy like some drag shows, but I don't care. My daughter was 20, 19, 20, 21. I don't know. She was 20 at the time. I didn't care. Great. It's entertainment. And in fact, I've been to drag shows. They can be entertaining, especially the impersonators. Those are kind of cool, right? In the shows. But I'm not taking a 5th grader to one. Anyway, go ahead.
It's for adults, it's entertainment. For kids, it's influence. My adult mind, you're not going to influence me to do anything if I come to your drag show. I'm there to be entertained, watch you sing, or like you said, impersonations. That's great. But to a child, you're not entertaining them. You're influencing them. You're blurring the lines of their mind. Their kids are like phones. When you get a new phone, there's some apps that are already on it. You don't put them on there, and you can't even take them off. They'll tell you, if you remove this app, it might cause a problem. Kids come with certain things already in them, certain things that their mind can handle. And you sitting and what kind of grown adult wants to shake their nether regions in front of children? Who wants to be half dressed or wearing something really tight where you can see whether they're cut or not through their pants in front of kids?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you as a performer, if you want to call him that, or a pervert, as I call him? Why would you want to do that in front of children?
Right.
Who would want to do that? Who's setting this up for the kids? And what parents are not up in that principal's office immediately when I find out you had a bunch of crazy ass perverts up here dancing in front of my children? Why don't you show them some native dance? Something that took place in their country. Teach them something. Don't bring a bunch of freaks from the local bar over here to dance in front of them. And not only what they're wearing, what the kids see is what they hear. You hear the lyrics to these songs and what these guys are saying in their performance? That's disgusting. You don't let your kids watch stuff in the privacy of your own home like that. But I'm entrusting the most precious thing in my world to you, and you're going to show them this crap? Man, if my kids ever came home under the age of 18 and told me this was at school, bro, we got a problem, a big one.
Is that even a possibility where you are in that part of California?
Hey, P-Dog, it's California, man. Anything.
It's California, but it's not all California.
Not where my kids know. Like I said, I found a red pocket in California. You get where people work, they lose all that liberal crap. There's only 2 genders up here. So at my kids' school, I don't think that's going to happen, but you still got to be vigilant. You still got to be on the lookout. You still got to attend the meetings, because that shows them, oh, these kids' parents are involved. We can't pull this shit up here. But if the parents are asleep at the wheel and they allow this crap to happen and you get no outrage, yeah, it's going to happen.
All right. Now, chat, we got about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes left. Chat, if you have any questions for Mr. Jericho Green, I'd like you to get him in the chat now. By the way, thank you for joining me both on Rumble and on YouTube. Mostly people on YouTube today. And just an FYI, just a programming note, don't forget 1000th episode on Friday and normal show the next what's the day? Today's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The next 3 days we'll have our regular shows. By the way, Jericho, if you have time, anytime to pop in on Friday, I'm sending out links to everyone who's ever been a guest here. You don't have to, but it's going to be an all-day show, 10 to 6. Well, that's 7 to 3 your time. So it may not work schedule wise. I don't know, but if you want to pop in, you are free to do that. I'm more than welcome that.
Send me a link, man. I'll pop in.
Yeah, I'll get you a link to you. Let's see, someone here, and there's some people are talking about this drag thing. I walk away for a half hour. What are we talking about? The Grammys. That's the other one I was
Lord.
You didn't now. Okay. Did you watch the Grammys? I didn't watch them. I've seen
I didn't watch, but I saw the clips of the satanic ritual.
I missed this. And I'm not going to put that on. I don't see. You can't show clips of the Grammys out here, but I want to ask you about one thing on the Grammys. Let me look it up here real quick. Let's see. I need a photo. Come on, please. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Images, and I need to show you this image, and I'm going to ask you. Here it is coming up. Let me find a good one. Here's a good one. This is a good one. All right, Jericho. What the fuck is this? Oh no! I wanted this whole pic. I want the. Come on!
Wow.
What?
A mess.
It's
a fucking mess.
See, here we go. There it is.
Golly. Hey, well, at least this time she was all covered up.
Yes, okay. Yes, at least she wasn't out there in a thong and some BDSM gear and shit. But you want to know my thought first time I saw this? She came as a blood clot.
Not the Jamaican. Yeah, blood clot. Not like that. Like an actual blood clot. She looks like a floral. She's wearing a floral muumuu. I don't know what that is. That looks disgusting, man. It was all disgusting last night. It was sick, man. I don't know what the hell that was. But this high fashion is, I guess, is what they call this. Or expensive clothes always look like shit. Remember the Olsen twins? They were walking around looking like homeless people, and that shit cost like $10,000. You see all this crazy ass stuff. It was gross, man. That performance with Sam Smith and the Red and the Devil and the first Ku Klux Trans Grammy. It was so
look, I didn't. That's this. Oh, and then here's Harry Styles. Hang on.
Like, can you wash your TV? Can you do that after you watch something like that?
So this looks like those so you have a Christmas tree. And they have
the garland.
The icicle things, not the garland, but the icicle things. It looks like he just glued a bunch of them to himself.
Hey man, give me part of that costume so I can get this damn stain off my pots and pans. That looks terrible, man.
It looks like a giant toilet scrubber.
And imagine how much that costs. Imagine how much that outfit costs. I need to get into high fashion design because I'm terrible at art, and I can do better than that. Those people are crazy as hell, but it's a bunch of sickos on stage in front of an audience of sickos who are there just, it's a big pile of writhing bodies just congratulating itself and touching it and just being nasty. Beyonce's a mom. I'm no prude, but if you got kids, don't be out there with 75% of your titties out. Have some class, man. My goodness.
And here's Shania Twain look like a Holstein witch.
She ain't no damn country singer. She's from Canada. You can't be a country singer and be from Canada.
No, there's Canadian country singers.
No. What's his name? Kenny Chesney, the Australian country singer.
No, that's who's the Australian rock
Keith Urban. Keith Urban. I think that's him. Crikey. You can't sound like that.
Rock who's the Australian country singer that got really big? Anybody?
I think it's Keith Urban.
Oh, and Madonna too. Did you see?
Oh
Madonna?
man, you know what?
There was some there. Oh wait, hold up. I gotta find this picture now because there was a picture of
You
they
see one with
compared
her and
to
her
that
kid?
No.
There's a picture of Madonna who she took a picture with her daughter, one of them African kids she adopted years back. And she's all weird looking.
It's the rent-a-kid.
Yeah, the accessory kid, the handbag kid. But the girl on the look on her face, like she's not happy. And I said, like, the look on her face is send me back to Africa, please. Get me out of here.
They put a little too much. they put a little
Donna. Girl, that's what
they
happens when you have too much time and too much money.
Yeah, there was
she just went to the golly, she said, carve my face up, please. That's a dude from Ghostbusters 2, Vigo.
Oh my gosh.
But there's a picture with her daughter, man. Oh man. How about the dude from Tango and Cash? That scene in the prison. That guy had a big old jaw. That's who she looks like, the dude from Tango and Cash. Oh my Lord. What's that guy's name? I gotta find this for you, man. You gotta that's who she looks like. Tango and Cash.
So here's a comparison of her from 2006 and today.
No.
I mean,
she looks horrible. She don't even look the same.
Here's the thing, because these people who do this, you know, I gotta tell some of these people, it's okay to be old.
Yeah.
I'm getting old. I'm you know, I mean,
that's the plan. We hope to be old.
I mean, and she probably, well, and I don't understand her shaving her eyebrows off either. That's the other part. Or is that just like, did she get some plastic?
Maybe her skin is just so. Oh, his name's Robert Zadar, Z''DAR. That's who she looks like. Robert Zadar,
the elephant,
and his character's name in the movie is Faith.
So they put her. Here's a picture of her.
Donna.
And Cyndi Lauper hasn't done anything, right? And she just looks kind of normal. I mean, she has the messed up hair, but she hasn't done anything to her face. She hasn't. And then you got Madonna over here.
Bro, what do they think when they get home and look in the mirror after all the swelling's gone down? I mean, obviously, I guess she's not happy, but Madonna used to be fine. Madonna was gorgeous. All the way until like the 90s.
She looked normal. She looked okay.
Not anymore. Not anymore. She looks like Robert Zadar. That is a shame. But you know, same thing. Michael Jackson. What he did himself.
Madonna There's Madonna.
Damn. Why? Poor thing. She must have some real shit going on in her head to think that she needs to carve her face up like that, man. Just let it happen. We want to be old. Right. Nobody says I want to die young. You want to get old. Accept it. Enjoy it. She's like, nah. I want to put your foot on the back of my head and just pull my skin like the dude in Men in Black. Oh, golly. Poor Madonna. Poor material girl. But yeah, she got those accessory kids back in the day. Everybody's doing that. Charlize Theron, they were all grabbing little African babies. Now it's trans. Now it's trans kids. That's the new accessory.
Well, no, they're buying kids from Africa and then transing them so they can have some virtue points.
Yeah, not only are they trans, but you're a kid of color. You're a KOC. Oh my goodness, that's double points.
You take that with the trans. And the only thing they can do now, you know, just chop one off at the knee, and then you have a trans, you know, person of color who's handicapped.
Dang, hold on. You're a trans person of color, non-binary midget. Their heads would explode. They would build shrines to that person as a kid like that. Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Your kid's trans? Or my kid is a trans of color. Oh, you got me. I'll be back.
Then they could be then they could be the White House press secretary.
Yeah, I call her Chocolate Patty because they call the other one Peppermint Patty. So she's Chocolate Patty. She's terrible. I normally don't like to see people drown, but she drowns every single day at her press conference. She is awful. Well, you're going to have to contact the so-and-so. I'm contacting you. You're the press secretary. You're supposed to know this stuff. And the biggest lie she's ever told was, well, the president's been clear. Really? Since when? I have yet to hear that fool be clear.
Okay, wait a minute. Here's what you got to do this, because that's a drinking game. Clear. What's the other one? There's she has 3 words that she says all the time.
Top of mind.
What's the other one? There's oh shoot, I can't remember now. But yeah, if she says it, I have to take a drink and I'd be dead at the end of every press conference.
1 minute in, you're blacked out. You're done.
No, he hasn't been clear. That's why we're asking you the damn question.
He can't be clear. He cannot be clear. I still haven't seen a press conference or a speech that he's gotten through flawlessly. And I'll give him some slip-ups. So myself and you, we both speak for a living. We have verbal slip-ups for sure, but they're on a minor level. He is like, so he's saying people are races or genders that they're not. He said half the women in my cabinet are women. Well, I know because you said you called them. Because you called them women.
Half of them are men, though.
Hey, poor kids are just as smart as white kids. Huh? Wait, dog. Same words out of Trump's mouth. Just imagine the fallout. Imagine if Eric Trump had a laptop floating around out there. We know everything about it. And I think that's going to be the final. That's going to be the final blow. That's going to be the death knell for Sloppy Joe. They're going to finally release the contents of that laptop. That will be he can't recover from that.
It's coming.
Yeah, piece by piece for sure. He admitted that it's his, but he said, "Well, somebody else could have put all the stuff on it." So,
but now the crazy thing is now he's trying to sue for because it was saying stolen when we already know it wasn't stolen. Everyone knows.
Yeah, you didn't pick it up after 90 days, so it now belongs to the store owner.
Right.
And his daughter's diary. She wrote in there, when I was a little kid, when I was 9 years old, I took showers with my dad. That was inappropriate. Huh? Nope. Forget about it. I've seen it highlighted in her diary that she left behind in a rehab.
Oh, really?
Some rehab she was living in. She left her diary there, and somebody.
I knew that. No, I knew that.
Yeah.
I know that they've talked about it, but
yeah, I've seen it with the page, and then the words, that sentence that she wrote is highlighted in there.
Oh,
but never mind. We'll just focus on other things. And then for him to say, they asked him, "Do you take blame for inflation?" I don't take any blame, man. You see what it was like when I got in here? What? Bruh. This is wild, man. This is wild.
Well, God doesn't have to worry anymore because she's too old, so he's not going to snip her hair anymore.
Nah, man. Once you're over like 9, he don't want you no more. Oh, for my taste.
Oh boy. Okay, this is going beyond YouTube's guidelines, so we're gonna.
It is.
And actually we do got to kind of wrap it up here because Lady Boomer is going to be home anytime now.
Right.
But anyway, look, man, I'm really glad I got to talk to you. I've been saying that. So here's what happens when you're a melanated American of conservative, somewhat values and things like that, and you ask the audience, who are some people you should talk to, and your name came up a lot because people like you. So I feel like I am benefiting from the glow of your aura. So I appreciate it. And
right.
And I would love to do this again sometime. But hey, I do got to close this down, people. So anything that you want to show, tell us where people can find you. Tell us where what you got coming up, or just anything you want people to know before we get out of here.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for allowing me on your platform. Thank you to whoever suggested me to him. I got some. Actually, you go on any YouTube. That's my main platform, but I'm on Rumble, all kinds of different places. But you go to any of my video, go to the link tree. All my links are there: podcast, everything, merch. So yeah, just click on that. I got some animation coming out. I've teamed up with some extremely talented individuals. One of them is a former art teacher at a very prestigious university. The other one used to work for DC Comics for years. So heavy hitters. I'm going to bring what I do. They bring what they do, and it's hopefully it's something that people like.
Oh,
but yeah, just every day or Tuesday through Saturday, my live stream, YouTube, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Mondays, I'm on Jericho Green at locals.com on the Locals app. So, again, hit that link tree.
Check his local page too. You're on Twitter too, or no?
No, I got kicked off of Twitter. I had beef with Alyssa Milano. They let me go. So I haven't been back since. But
they're letting everybody back on now.
Yeah, but I don't know if I want to. It almost feels like I'm tucking my tail and surrendering to Twitter again.
No, I'd be storming in like a superhero coming through the door.
Let's test out this freedom of speech. I don't know. Maybe I will, but I'm definitely going to push it to the limit if I do right off the bat. But that's where they can find me, man. And again, thanks, P-Dawg. I really appreciate you having me here, man.
All right, this is awesome. All right, well, I'm going to close it down. Thank you again, Jericho. I appreciate you being here. And ladies and gentlemen, go check out Jericho Green if you're not already. I know a bunch of you do follow him already, but Jericho Green on YouTube, Rumble, and Locals, and especially Locals, because then you really find out what's going on. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, this Friday, the 1000th episode of the Morning Night Live, it will be on the show, or on the channels, YouTube, Rumble, and on Twitter Spaces. And the goal is to get 1,000 people there. So if y'all can help me out with that, that would be the largest viewership I had. I think I had 700 once, but that was I can't remember who's here. I think that was when Rakita was here. But anyway, that's it for today, people. I got to go. See you tomorrow morning if you're up for the Morning Night Live, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. I got to go. My name is Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the Dawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.